Hey, George.
Hey, Nick.
Sorry to interrupt this episode of Reslayer's Take, but we have to tell the people about ButcherBox.
Oh, yeah. Listen, friends, we only do ads for sponsors we think are great, and ButcherBox is on our good list.
ButcherBox sent us each a customized box of high-quality meat, and they were so freaking good. It's so convenient having a box of incredible meat in your freezer without ever having to step foot in a grocery store.
And the greatest part? This antibiotic-free and humanely raised meat comes with plenty of curated tips and recipes. So whipping up awesome dinners is a cinch.
These prices are impossible to beat for the quality, and where the heck else can you get free protein for a whole dang year? Not the grocery store. So sign up at butcherbox.com/reslayer and get our special deal.
ButcherBox is offering our listeners a free for a year offer plus an additional $20 off. Choose chicken breast, salmon, or ground beef free in every order for a year. Sign up today at butcherbox.com/reslayer and use code RESLAYER to choose your free for a year offer, plus $20 off your first order.
Let's get grillin'.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy, George. Are you looking for more actual play podcasts? Well, there's never been a better time to jump on board with The Adventure Zone, the RPG podcast from the McElroy family. They're doing shorter seasons and campaigns now, so there are new stories more often, and it's easy to catch up if you come in late. Right now, Griffin McElroy is GMing a story for his brothers, Justin and Travis, and their dad, Clint. They're using D&D 5th edition, the same game system as the Reslayer's Take, so it should sound pretty familiar. It's called The Adventure Zone vs. Dracula. And yes, these guys are going to take down Dracula. Hopefully. Find out by subscribing to The Adventure Zone wherever you listen to podcasts, and tell them George sent you.
Welcome to the Reslayer's Take. I'm George Primavera.
And I'm Nick Williams. In this podcast, George and I lead a group of players through an exciting improvised adventure in Exandria, the magical world of Critical Role, in the time after the Mighty Nine's adventure, but before Bell's Hells even met.
We're playing Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, but you won't need to know the rules to follow along. All you need to know is that nothing the players do is scripted or planned, and their fates are determined by their own cleverness and the random chance of rolling a 20-sided die.
If the players roll high, their characters succeed in completing a task or overcoming an obstacle. If you hear nat 20 or natural 20, that means someone rolled the highest number possible on a 20-sided die, an automatic and resounding triumph.
On the flip side, if you hear natural 1, it means they rolled a 1 on the die, the lowest possible number, an immediate and sometimes dangerous failure.
You can listen to new episodes of the Reslayer's Take every Monday, anywhere you stream podcasts.
Or if you want to listen to the podcast 2 weeks early and uninterrupted by ads, join Beacon at beacon.tv.
Now, without further ado, welcome to the Reslayer's Take.
We open on a chilly, misty morning in the Vesper Timberland, as the citizens of the humble town of Himblewood begin preparing for their festive monthly market. The vibrant, lush woodland of the Vesper Timberland frames the town in a truly picturesque embrace. And soon, colorful tents and awnings are erected all along Himblewood's uneven cobblestone streets. The plain hodgepodge of houses and shops are quickly accented with decorative streamers, gaudy signage, and flamboyant displays. And as noon rolls around, the market gets into full swing. The air is filled with a variety of dazzling aromas, the smells of fruity frosted cakes, pungent stinky cheeses, and briny slimy fish mix in the air. And at the edge of a street band's captive crowd, we see a tall, hooded figure looking shyly on, a figure we know as Frog.
Frog stands about 6 feet 10 inches tall. Her body is humanoid in shape but metallic in nature. She's copper with gilded and ornate accents that now have taken on a greenish patina over time. To cover this up and blend in more, she wears a hooded poncho and belted high-waisted corduroy trousers. When she's active, her eyes glow a dull blue, so she wears large round spectacles to dim them. Across her back, she has a worn leather knapsack, which houses her most prized possession, a beat-up-looking journal where she jots down all her notes and discoveries.
Frog, as you listen to the music, you feel a sharp tug on your clothing from behind. A small child with a little bit of snot bubbling at his nose exclaims,
"Excuse me, I can't see the music!"
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. If you hand me your hand, I could pull you up here and you could see from where I am.
Roll a persuasion check.
7.
As you lean down, Frog, your spectacles fall down on your metallic nose, and the child's eyes go wide as he sees bright blue orbs shining into his own eyes. And he backs up, a little frightened, and then takes off back away through the crowd.
Oh no. I'll put my glasses back on, and I hope no one else notices.
Frog looks on to the band playing with excitement. She pulls out her journal and jots down the shapes of all the instruments. She's never seen something like this before.
The band's song ends, there's a polite applause from the surrounding crowd, and then the crowd begins to disperse. As you wander on, Frog, you reach a small eatery with barrels stacked up behind a small counter, with a couple of chairs and tables spread out on the cobblestone main road. At a countertop, there is a hunched figure that seems to repel everyone else's presence. Even the shopkeep behind the counter mixing colorful beverages seems to avoid her gaze. Frog, it strikes you just how lonely this must be for someone to sit all alone on such a joyful day.
Frog sits down next to them to offer some easy company.
Turning to look at who has sat next to her, we see
Farah, a half-elven woman with silver hair. She sits tall and proud. Her worn, studded leather armor she no longer fills out suggests a life of adventure she has long left behind. Farah pays no mind to the person that just sat next to her despite their large frame. She continues to eat the food in front of her, concentrating on every bite.
Did you hear any of the music playing earlier?
I don't like music.
Oh, that's cool. I never actually heard anything like that before. Can you tell me what this instrument is?
And Frog holds up her journal, showing a quick sketch that she had done of a guitar. She doesn't know what a guitar is.
Farah looks at Frog skeptically. That's a guitar.
A guitar! Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much. That's so nice of you to share that information with me. I can't believe it. Guitar.
Farah pushes the unknown patron sitting to her right off their seat and sidles away from Frog.
Farah moves over, leaving a seat between her and Frog. Both of you make a perception check.
22.
Natural 1.
Frog, as you stare joyfully ahead, Farah scrutinizes your person. Farah, you notice, sticking out of the pocket of this enormous figure's corduroys is a familiar red-hued piece of parchment, one that you happen to have in your own pocket.
You're a hunter?
Are you talking to me? I just thought because you scooched away from me, so I thought maybe you didn't want to talk to me, and I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry.
I just want to know what the red slip in your pocket is.
Oh, this is an invitation to join the Slayer's Take, and you see, I'm trying to learn as much as I can about the world around me and around all of us, and I thought that this might be a good chance for me to get out there and see new things, so I can write them down, and I can learn them, and I can spread more information to the other people that might need it. How did you know?
I know things.
Farah, make an investigation check.
Nat 20.
As you peer at this figure, you see a faint blue glow emanating from behind dark spectacles and a very shiny-looking face. It would seem this person is in a full suit of armor, which you also deduce from the tinny nature of their voice, as if it's reverberating off of metallic walls.
You're looking a little, clammy.
Clammy? Whoa. I'm gonna write that down.
At the fishmongers on the other side of the market, standing in front of an enormous and bizarrely colored swordfish on a bed of ice, we see
Idrin Shadowstep, a young half-orc, half-elf, reaches forward with his left hand, on the back of which is a tattoo of the moon. On the back of his right hand, there's a corresponding tattoo of the sun. He wears matching gold earrings in both ears. He's wearing flowing robes in tones of reds, browns, and golds, with a pattern that looks like fragments of a starry sky. Then he moves his hand to his satchel that sits on his left hip, next to a dagger. He reaches in and finds a silver coin that rests between his clay-toned fingers and painted black nails, staring at this strange fish in front of him.
Ah, you're eyeing old Bertha, is ya?
I am.
Well, old Mickey Horselaugh Tollison caught old Bertha just nigh on 2 days ago. I've been chasing that fish my entire life. Only 2 gold pieces per pound.
So, you're saying that this fish is as old as you are?
Oh yes, even older than old Horselaugh. And for 100 gold, I'll give you the whole fish.
What can I get for a silver piece?
A silver piece? Don't make me horse laugh. Let me show you over to the bargain section. I'll give you 3 or 4 for a silver.
That would be perfect. If you dry it and prepare it properly and add a little bit of magic, you can make anything delicious.
Friend, with fish like this, a little bit of magic is all you need. So back to old Bertha. I was there, out on the lake, in my old tugboat, Christine. And I'd been fishing that hole for quite some time. Years, in fact. Anyway, Bertha finally grabbed onto my hook, and my old Christine was dragged clear across the lake. So I hung on for dear life. But then, Christine hit a rock, and I was flung into the briny lake itself.
Idrin takes a good long look at this fish, wondering how this thing ended up in a lake.
Idrin, make a nature check.
7.
This is an unfamiliar fish to you, but one thing that catches your eye is the iridescent green stripe that extends from snout to tail. It gleams like an opal.
Idrin is listening to this strange, potentially delirious old man, but cannot take his eyes off that beautiful stripe.
Story short, after a prolonged boxing match at the surface, I was victorious and arrived in town with my prize catch, old Bertha.
I must say, you are one of the strangest people I have ever met. But you actually remind me of my mother a little bit.
Oh, thank you, young man.
She has done things that made no sense to me. I once saw her lift a boulder with her mind. It was astounding. So, if she can lift boulders with her mind and you can catch fish, I guess anything is possible.
Anything is possible. Now, please buy some old fish or get the heck out of here because there's paying customers waiting behind you.
Yes, of course. Idrin reaches into his satchel and pulls out a silver piece and hands it over and then picks up his fish excitedly, grinning more from having been able to get a free story along with his dinner.
Hey, kid, take a crab on the house.
As the crab is flying through the air, Idrin looks back and lets out a whistling sound. As a hawk comes and snatches the crab midair and comes to land on Idrin's shoulder. There you are. That was a very good catch. You're getting better at this.
Idrin, you continue to gaze at the vast array of goods being hawked at the market today, and a conversation being had by an old woman behind a table full of jewelry catches your ear. And you see, arguing with the elderly shopkeep, a tiefling woman. Tieflings look very much like humans, but their infernal bloodlines bestow upon them thick tails, horns, and a mouthful of sharp canine teeth.
Hira Agniheart is a tiefling with an ochre complexion. She wears leather armor embossed with henna designs, strapped over green, emerald green, and Prussian blue silks. She has water buffalo-style horns that she ties with ribbons and peacock feathers.
But I don't understand. Why would I pay you to steal my precious jewels?
Because if you pay me to steal your jewels, then you'll know the deficiencies in your security system, thereby preventing further theft. Also, half of these jewels are fake.
Okay, I want to come back to that, but first, to address your first point, security system. What is that?
Well, a security system essentially keeps your valuables from people who want them.
Oh, Ismay squawks if he sees somebody snatch something, don't you? Don't you? Oh, good bird. Yes.
A very ancient-looking parakeet sheds several feathers as the old woman pats the wing.
I think Ismay's eyes may be going, because they didn't catch me pocket these 4 gems. And Hira holds aloft 4 gems between her fingers.
What? You are losing your touch, you old thing!
Hira, make a deception check to try to pass off your own jewels as this old woman's.
19.
Well, clearly I am in dire need of your services, young lady. Just show me where I sign.
Coming up on Hira's side, lost in the shining of the gems, is Idrin.
What is happening here?
Oh, just a business transaction between two parties.
Yes, she stole my gems and now I'm paying her.
Precisely so.
Are you hungry? And Idrin pulls out a fish that is raw.
Me? Hira hasn't eaten in days and is no longer in a position to turn her nose up at this food. She takes the slimy fish, holding it between two fingers, and says, "Thank you, you're very kind."
My pleasure. And you? Would you like a fish?
Oh no, I'm on a grain-only diet.
I bet that's why you are preserved so well. Now, if you just sign here with your quill, we can get you locked in for a 5-year plan.
Done and done. What is your name?
Hira.
You'll be stealing her gems for 5 years, and she pays you for it?
Not quite like that, no. I steal her gems so that other thieves fail at stealing them. It's really quite beneficial to both parties.
Well, of course they'll fail at stealing them if there's no gems to steal.
Exactly.
Idrin and Hira continue to mosey curiously through the market.
Do you think we could maybe find a place where we could pay them to cook the fish? I would like a snack before I go audition for the Slayer's Take.
Oh, you're going to the Slayer's Take?
Out of sheer desperation, yes. It's come to this, unfortunately.
Oh, so am I. But less out of desperation, more out of excitement.
I'm sorry. I know what it's like.
Which part, exactly?
Taking anything you can get to just get by.
Oh.
I understand.
No, that's not why.
We are brothers together in this. We will get by together, yes.
Idrin pauses to look at this figure and has a moment where he just thinks, your father taught you how to do this. Sometimes people will say things, and if it's not harmful, you agree, because they're happy. Yes, thank you for understanding me.
Together, we'll build our fortunes again.
We will! And then we will have cooked fish, huh?
Her nostrils flare a little bit with disgust at the smell and the slime of the fish, but she's also very hungry.
You know, I could probably cook it very quickly. Idrin looks around for an empty spot.
Roll a perception check.
14.
There is not quite an alleyway, but a small, narrow path between two buildings where several barrels are stacked up, allowing for a completely obscured corner.
Hira, right?
Yes, I don't think I caught your name.
Idrin bows. My name is Idrin. Idrin Shadowstep. Follow me.
I would be very obliged. I've never cooked a day in my life. And she hands her fish back to him.
Idrin grabs it and then takes 2 of the barrels and puts them down, and pulls out his dagger and lays it across. He gently puts 2 fish on top of it as he speaks a few words in Elvish, and he casts Create Bonfire. A small fire appears underneath to gently heat the metal and cook these fish.
The fish sizzle on the metallic surface of the knife. Soon a pleasant aroma fills the air.
I think they're ready.
Sir, you are a gentleman and a scholar and a cook. She grabs one and takes a bite.
Idrin does the same.
This is the best meal I've had in days. And within moments, Hira devours the entire fish, bones and all.
Midday rolls around, the time denoted on the red-hued parchment for the beginning of the Slayer's Take recruit presentation. And all 4 of our travelers find a surprisingly modest booth with the symbol of the Slayer's Take hastily scrawled on an oversized piece of parchment and nailed to the front of it. A goblin sits behind the table atop a tall stool, drawing several looks from passers-by, which the little goblin returns with a cheery, oblivious wave.
As Farah walks over, she lectures Frog, finding the ego boost she desperately needed with this person who wants to hear all she has to say. All right, so you're here to learn things. Let me teach you something. These people are ruthless. These people are tough. They're monster hunters. All they want is money. So, you just gotta prove that you're better.
Okay.
You're tall. Push people over.
Like push them over without, like, asking them or anything?
Yeah, do what you gotta do to stand out. Well, you already stand out.
Oh, I was gonna say something about you. You've got those 2 swords.
Yeah, don't take them.
I would never. You were telling me about how you have powers that make you stronger?
Yeah, but don't focus on that. I'm not your competition. These guys are your competition, okay? I'm getting this contract either way. Look at me. I'm the best. You want number 2? You gotta prove you're number 2 amongst these people.
Farah gestures to a line of folks that are scribbling down their names on a long list, as the goblin reads from a piece of paper, speaking to them in a very formal fashion. But you can't quite hear what's being said. Farah and Frog end up directly behind Idrin and Hira, sucking the last of the fish meat off of very little brittle bones.
I think we should thin out the competition, Idrin.
Okay.
Maybe a diversion? It would be awful if someone wandered off just as their name was called.
How would we do that exactly?
Hira is going to take an appraising look at the people in line in front of her and, using her eye for detail, try to see if she can find something on their person or something about them that would denote another responsibility she can pull on.
Roll an investigation check.
24.
In front of Hira, there is a woman standing with a very palpable anticipation, seemingly very excited to get her name down on this list. Hira looks down her figure down to a belt, on which is a burlap pouch with the outline symbol of an apple. And gazing around the market, she finds the exact same symbol on a shop sign some couple of 100 feet down the street.
Hira taps on her shoulder.
Yes?
I believe someone from your shop is looking for you. You work at the grocer's, yes?
How did you know that?
Well, I heard the shopkeep there throwing a large ruckus saying the count was off and gold is missing.
The count was off? Oh,
and she sprints out of line back to the grocer's.
Well, that's one down.
See, ruthless.
Wow, you're right. You're very wise.
Thank you, I think so too.
As soon as the 4 of you approach, the little goblin pulls out a little note card and begins to read.
Welcome, friend. If you are here to be considered to join the take, look no further, for you have arrived at your destination. My name is Poogs, and I will be checking you in today. May I have your name, please?
The first thing you notice about this goblin are his perfectly straight, white teeth.
Hira looks utterly taken aback. You have a very charming smile.
Thank you. Do you want to hear the story of my smile?
No.
Yes, please.
Well, when I was a goblin influenced by the curse of strife and was relieved of that burden, the first thing I did was take out all of my teeth. And then found a wizard to replace them, and he gave me these.
And Poogs, the goblin, reaches into his mouth and pulls out his full set of dentures.
Jasper, I thought they're a little big, but I like the way they look.
Could you do that again? Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Maybe you can grow into them.
You think so?
I mean, who knows? Anything is possible.
The problem is you're made for people, and you're a little big for my little goblin mouth, so we make do with what we got.
And he slides the parchment forward, places the quill down.
Go ahead and write your names, and then go ahead and tell me what your inspiration was for joining the take.
Hira takes the pen and in a very flourishy, cursive handwriting writes down her name and says pointedly, hunger.
That's a great reason. And you?
I would like to defend others from danger. Strange question. May I see your teeth? Idrin grabs the teeth and looks at the goblin's face and then tries to resize them a little bit. And there's probably breaks and cracks, but after Idrin does that, he reaches into his pocket and pulls out 2 lodestones, and then says a few words over the dentures and casts mending, trying to reshape them to be a more appropriate size after breaking them a bit.
Idrin, make an Arcana check.
10.
The mending spell does indeed alter the shape of these a little bit, but as the spell takes effect, some of the alterations that Idrin was attempting to make come slightly undone.
When this happens, Idrin looks at it and sees that it's not the way that he wants, and in that moment, there's a surge in his eyes as he uses a chronal shift.
Just to Idrin's eyes, the world seems to rewind a few seconds, and Idrin feels himself gain another chance to alter the teeth correctly. Make another Arcana check.
17.
And this time, the teeth reduce in size appropriately for a goblin.
Here you go.
What did you do?
They might fit a little bit more comfortably now.
Let me... Oh! Those went in really... Easy. Wow. Is this permanent?
It is.
This is great.
You're great. Idrin signs his name very quickly.
Who's next?
Congratulations on the new teeth.
Yeah, it's huge. I'm still kind of processing it. What's your name?
I was just about to write it down.
Frog picks up the pen and scribbles her name in just barely legible writing.
Your penmanship is beautiful.
Thank you so much. It's been a slow learning process, but I get better with each day. Oh, and speaking of my purpose for wanting to join here today, it's learning and knowledge.
That's great. I learned a lot in the Slayer's Take.
Really? Like what?
Who's next?
Farah writes down her name. I'm a monster hunter. I hunt monsters.
Yeah, well, that's what we do, so that works great. If you guys will take a seat over there, the presentation should be starting pretty soon.
And our 4 travelers go about trying to find a seat amidst several wooden chairs set before a clumsily constructed stage.
As they're coming in, Idrin actually turns to the 2 behind him. Idrin, nice to meet you.
Oh, I'm Frog.
Like a frog?
Yes, like a frog, like the amphibious creature that lives both on land and in water and has a very good ability of leaping. Sometimes they contain a poison in their skin.
Do you have poison under your,
Oh, no. Oh, no, not at all. I just thought that was a very interesting fact about frogs. It's not something I share with them.
Idrin, roll an investigation check.
19.
As you stare up into Frog's big round spectacles, you see that blue glow emanating from behind them, and also notice that metallic sheen around her face, implying that perhaps Frog is wearing a full, very tight-fitting suit of armor.
Interesting.
As everybody begins to take their seats and the crowd settles, while the market continues full blast around them, the goblin hops up onto the stage and addresses the audience.
Okay, everybody. Introducing our representative from the Slayer's Take. Slayer's Take. Please welcome Timpani Guff.
There's a hesitant applause, and bounding up onto the stage is...
a shorter than average, more portly than average Furbolg, with a shock of red hair on top of his head, coming out of his ears, and in the form of a large bristly mustache on his face.
Furbolgs are tall, hairy folk with pointed ears and blue-tinged skin, as well as broad, cow-like noses. They stand much taller than most humans.
He wears canvasy pants that have been patched over many times, a simple tunic, and a barn coat that is in similarly bad repair. He addresses the crowd excitedly. How's it going there? My name is Timpani Guff. Timpani like the beautiful instrument, and Guff like I don't take none from nobody. I'm from the Slayer's Take over there in Vasselheim, and we're here today looking for some new recruits. And hey, that could be one of you. We're looking for normal people who just want to do the right thing. But be warned, it's not for the faint of heart, or for anyone looking to make a fast coin. That's not what the Slayer's Take is all about. The Slayer's Take is about honor, and glory, and protecting the innocent. But also, I have made a pretty penny, taking down some of the spookiest monsters in them there Vesper Timberlands.
Frog pulls out her journal hastily and writes down everything that Timpani Guff is saying.
Hira just murmurs to Idrin, "You can do good things and get paid. Not mutually exclusive, I have found."
Idrin looks at the moon on the back of his left hand, and then looks at Hira. Sometimes payment from good things is more than just money. Like friendship. Huh?
Okay, let's see who we got here today. Oh, I see a tall lady in the audience. Hey, tall lady, are you coming out for the Slayer's Take? You would do a good job hunting down them spooky monsters.
Do you really think I would do a good job?
Of course, you're so tall.
Under her breath, Farah whispers to Frog, "Exude confidence."
Exude confidence. Yes, sir. I
can
do it.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly the kind of confidence we admire in the Slayer's Take. Why don't you come up here on stage with me?
Okay.
Oh boy, you're even taller than I thought when you were sitting down. Why don't you just wait for me on stage? I'll get a couple more volunteers.
You got it.
And you look like you seen a couple battles in your day.
More than a couple.
I like the cut of your jib and the cut of those 2 short swords on your back. Why don't you come join your tall friend?
Farah works hard to exude confidence, but after hearing this speech, it suddenly dawns on her how long it's been since she last did this.
Okay, let's see who else we got here.
Pick me.
Wait, yes, you way in the back there.
Derek. My name's Derek.
Derek, what's your deal, Derek?
I was an accountant for the Don Marshall of the Quadroutes, looking for a change.
Well, thanks for coming, Derek. Who else we got in the crowd?
Derek disappointedly lowers his hand and sits back in his chair.
Idrin puts his hand up.
Oh, and Mr. Fancy Robes.
Yes, because sometimes when you have to do good, you want to look good doing it.
Oh, that is exactly right. That's my motto. Get up here and stand on stage.
Hira sees that her friend is gone, the only person she knew here, and she starts to feel a little bit of social anxiety. So the next person she thinks that Timpani is going to point to, she rapidly trips them and stands up in their place and says,
How about...
yes, me as well, right? I knew it.
Timpani checks the sign-up sheet. All right, everybody, let's give it up for the volunteers. Idrin, Shadow Step, Farah, no last name given, Hira, Agniheart, and Frog. Okay, now that we have our volunteers, our 4 brave heroes, I will unveil the kind of beast you might be facing when you join the take. But don't be afeared. Everything is under control.
Poogs wheels an enormous box atop a dolly covered with a red tarp up onto the stage.
Now again, please do not worry. But all of the laymen out there, take one step back, for the beast inside of this container is not to be trifled with. Unless you're a verified member of the Slayer's Take, like me, Timpani Guff. And with a grand flourish, Timpani removes the red curtain.
Everybody make a perception check.
10.
16.
16.
18.
Farah, you see in this glass box several objects suspended in the air. A score of arrows at all different angles. A silvery helmet with a thick bridge of the nose. A rusted, decrepit shield, and a perfectly preserved fish skeleton. But the other 3 look a little closer at the box and notice that there is something jiggling and waving from within. A gelatinous cube contained within this glass box with no apparent opening. Only about half of the crowd seems to realize what's inside.
Ladies and gentlemen, steel your hearts, for you have nothing to be afraid of. I am a trained and venerated member of the Slayer's Take, and that means that—
And Timpani accidentally catches his boot between the slats of the stage and takes a header directly into the glass. There's a resounding crash, and he drops to the ground.
Oh, that's okay. That's all part of the job. There's dangers and hurdles around every turn, but nothing to be afraid of here. I am still very much in control.
And behind Timpani, the glass begins to spiderweb crack very gently from the point of impact.
Timpani?
And then there is a bursting of glass as all of the glass shatters and drops onto the stage. Several people gasp and begin to back up.
Timpani's eyes go wide, and he slowly turns around towards the gelatinous cube. Okay, folks, just take a big step back and...
And then, all at once, the cube schlorps through the slats in the wooden stage below.
Heckin' jeez-a-loo, the cube is loose! Everybody run, it's loose!
And now for a brief intermission.
With the planning, recording, and editing that go into the Reslayer's Take, Nick and I aren't left with a lot of time for exercise.
Luckily, our sponsor, Tonal, has helped us use the time we actually have to create personalized workouts just for us. Tonal learns from your movement and provides suggested weight recommendations for every move, and they even give you detailed reports on your progress.
They create personalized programs and workout suggestions based on your individual goals. Like me, I want the rogue-like agility to backflip over dungeon traps.
And I want the berserker strength to hold a heavy door up for my friends so they can escape the undead hordes thanks to my heroic sacrifice. With Tonal, you can do it all. It's like having a personal trainer at home with you.
Unlike traditional gym equipment, Tonal uses adaptive digital weight to advance your training techniques.
Whether you're a professional athlete or a cake-loving dungeon master like us, Tonal can be trusted to help you become your strongest, most fit self.
Right now, Tonal is offering our listeners $200 off your Tonal purchase with promo code RESLAYER. That's Tonal.com and use promo code RESLAYER for $200 off your purchase.
Tonal.com, promo code RESLAYER for $200 off.
Let's roll those athletics checks.
Creating really great retail experiences is tough, especially with multiple stores, teams of staff, fulfillment centers, separate workflows. It's a lot. But with Shopify Point of Sale, you can do it all without complexity.
Shopify's point of sale system is a unified command center for your retail business. It brings together in-store and online operations even across 1,000 locations.
Imagine being able to guarantee that shopping is always convenient. Endless aisle, ship to customer, buy online, pick up in stores, all made simpler so customers can shop how and where they want and staff have the tools they need to close the sale every time.
And let's face it, acquiring new customers is expensive. With Shopify POS, you can keep existing shoppers coming back to your stores with consistent, tailored experiences and first-party data that give marketing teams a competitive edge.
Want more?
Yeah!
Check it out at shopify.com/r/ all lowercase and learn how to create the best retail experiences without complexity.
That's shopify.com/r/.
Cha-ching!
So, what's the mark?
The Eye of Kithiska. From the world of Dragon Age comes a new tale.
The Eye was crafted centuries ago by a powerful dreamer.
Listen to me. You've been tricked. We have to put this back and leave.
I'm sorry, but I won't let you pay for my mistakes.
The Eye will destroy us.
Dragon Age, Vows and Vengeance. Listen and subscribe wherever you get podcasts.
Now back to the show.
The crowd explodes into a feverish panic and everybody begins to fall over themselves to get out of the cube's path as it begins to slowly reform at the base of the stage.
Idrin sees people around him in danger and then throws his right hand forward, the sun tattoo brightly lit. He chants a few words in Elvish, Vire Kala Ignus! Then, 4 of his fingertips light up as he casts Scorching Ray at 3rd level towards this gelatinous cube.
Roll your attacks.
13, 16, 25, 13.
4 hits. Roll your damage.
30 points of fire damage.
As it is engulfed in fire, the still reforming gelatinous cube seems to shrivel and shrink away from the blistering heat.
Timpani dashes towards the wooden chairs and dives behind one, attempting to hide.
Roll a stealth check.
20.
Timpani disappears behind a barrel, hiding effectively.
Frog rushes towards this gelatinous cube, eyes open and analyzing. She strikes at the creature with a deft punch and kick, and she channels her ki into a 3rd punch.
Roll 3 attacks.
12, 15, nat 20.
3 hits. Roll your damage.
31 damage. After unleashing a flurry of blows, Frog uses what she has picked up from her hits to discern information about this creature that she has never experienced before.
As Frog strikes this massive cube, she searches for a vulnerability and finds none.
Interesting.
The cube suddenly heads towards a massive stand full of ornate cheeses, rich oranges and yellows, and begins to suck them into itself. The cheeses begin to dissolve as soon as they enter within the cube, and you see that this cube is heading directly through the market. At the far end of this cube's trajectory, about 45 feet away, you see Captain Horselaugh, with a trident in both hands, standing stalwart in front of his prize catch.
You're not gonna take old Bertha from Mickey Horselaugh Tollison, that's for sure.
The cube clearly has other intentions, as at this, two little peaks form within the cube as if arms are outstretching towards the pungent fish.
First, Hera draws her rapier from her belt. The golden hilt glistens in the sun, but before she attacks, she's going to scan behind her. She darts one devilish eye towards the barrels and says, "Do something! People are going to die!" And then she thrusts forward in a quick motion, striking out with her rapier.
Roll an attack.
25.
Hit, roll damage.
12.
The rapier pierces this massive cube of jelly, and as it slurps on out, some loose liquid with an acrid stench spills over the cobblestone.
Farah pulls out two short swords. Feeling the familiar grip, she gains the confidence to run forward. The veins in her arms glow bright red, and her blades catch fire as she swings 3 times with her short sword. 23, 9, 20.
Even a 9 hits as the cube makes no move to avoid the slashing swords.
14 piercing damage, 12 fire damage.
For a total of 26 damage. The cube is now glowing an iridescent yellow and orange as the cheeses melted within begin to color the entire cube. It still trundles forward, leaving a thick, slimy trail behind it.
Idrin gazes at the moving cube and then looks down at the sun on the back of his hand. He aims his 4 fingertips forwards at the cube to cast Scorching Ray yet again at 3rd level.
Fiere Cala Ignus!
Roll your attacks.
Nat 20, 11, 18, 14.
4 hits. Roll your damage.
41 points of fire damage.
Another massive blast of fire engulfs the cube from the back, and it seems to reduce slightly in size as jelly burns away into the air, increasing that acrid ammonia stench.
People have worked very hard on that cheese.
Seeing that the cube has not slowed down its trajectory towards the fishman, Frog decides to strike the creature in a way that might stun it.
Roll an attack.
16. 8 damage.
Frog throws a vicious punch at the gelatinous cube, attempting to stun it. But the gelatinous cube resists the stunning effect of her punch. And then it tries to engulf Frog, who stands adjacent. Make a dexterity saving throw.
12.
Just barely escaping the grasping jelly, Frog backs up, avoiding the engulfing effect.
Whoa! Be careful, everybody. It has the ability to suck you in, just like the cheese.
The cube moves forward, plowing through the street at a diagonal angle, moving into the statue of the founder of Himblewood, Ol Hick Himblewood, adorned with fruity cakes and pastries around the statue as an offering. The statue is consumed, and it begins to float inside the gelatinous cube as all of the cakes dissolve, and the air fills with that nasty smell once again. The inside of the cube is now a swirling array of pinks, reds, yellows, and oranges, and a very enthusiastic halfling man giving 2 thumbs up.
With a little bit more grace in her step now, Hera charges forward and says, "What a waste of cake." 12?
Hit.
15.
Another vicious slash, and more liquid pours out over the cobblestone. The cube continues forward.
Sword still alight, Farah rushes forward and strikes it 3 times. 20, 16, 10.
3 hits.
13 piercing damage, 16 fire damage.
Farah cuts corners off of the massive cube, turning it more into a misshapen sphere, and it continues to, much more weakly now, lunge toward the fish market, almost rolling like an enormous jelly-filled ball.
Idrin throws a hand forward to cast Firebolt. 18.
Hit. Roll damage.
13 fire damage.
Take this!
Frog looks over to Idrin, and she feels inspired to continue with her own punches. She's gonna give it her all. 14, 12, 19, 21.
4 hits. Roll your damage.
24 damage. In her mind, Frog's fists are surrounded in fire like Idrin's as she makes a quick jab with the right, a quick uppercut with the left, and 2 windmill kicks. With her flurry of blows, she attempts to stun the creature once more.
And the wiggling jelly goes still. The cube is inches from the fish market and just seems to freeze in place.
Don't worry, we'll save your fish. Hira rushes out again with an 18.
Hit. Roll damage.
21.
How do you want to do this?
She moves forward very fluidly, the rapier coming out almost like it's an extension of her arm, and slices this now orb-like cube in half, cleanly through the middle.
It freezes for a moment, and then separates from itself, and then drops to the cobblestone, immediately losing shape and becoming a formless, still, slightly smoking jelly.
Timpani stands up slowly from the chairs, clapping slowly as he does.
And very slowly, the rest of the town joins him. And suddenly, all four look around and see scores of admirers and cheering townsfolk.
Let's give it up for the 4 newest members of the Slayer's Take.
Idrin looks around excitedly and isn't sure how to process it, so he takes the crab on his shoulder, breaks open a new claw, and starts to eat it nervously.
That's right. Feast on all the crab you have, because today we have seen victory.
You fool! How dare you talk about glory and doing good, you coward!
What you perceived as cowardice was actually me giving you the test of a lifetime, and you passed. Welcome to the Slayer's Take. Timpani poses in a tableau, shaking Hira's hand, facing the crowd, and leans in to whisper conspiratorially to all four.
As he leans in, Hira definitely attempts to run his pockets.
Roll a sleight of hand check.
16.
And comes away with Timpani's coin purse unbeknownst to him.
Meet me at the outskirts of the town at dusk. I have your first mission in hand. Let's give one more big round of applause to the heroes of the Himblewood Fair.
Before the group can gather their belongings and disperse, Captain Horselaugh comes up and shoves neatly wrapped packages of fish into each of their hands.
You protected me and my interest all day long, and you deserve a piece of old Bertha herself.
There's an amazing story that goes with this, I promise.
Whoa, I can't wait to hear it. And also, I can't wait to eat this because I definitely eat.
That's a crazy thing to say. Anyway, I was out on the lake.
After a 20-minute story with altered and much more embellished details, our 4 travelers realized that dusk is much nearer than they had originally thought. And they move towards the edge of Himblewood, crossing the tree line a little ways up the valley, journeying to a bright firelight at the base of one of the further mountains. As you all approach, in almost pitch darkness now, Timpani and Poogs sit around a roaring bonfire. Timpani immediately stands up with something in his hands that he reaches out to hand to each of you.
When I walked into Himblewood today, I said to myself, Timpani, who knows if you're gonna find anybody who's worthy here? But then I did. And how? Take these badges with pride. And welcome to the Slayer's Take.
After a hearty dinner is eaten and the firelight burns low, Timpani sparks the conversation once again.
Do you guys like spooky stories around the campfire? Because I got a real spooky one that I like to tell to all the new recruits.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Lay it on me, fur boy.
Fur boy, I like that. See, we're already giving each other fun names. Timpani hurriedly adjusts his seating and drapes a cloak over his head to intensify the spookiness. Now, have you ever heard the story of the timber blight of Dead Man's Table?
No.
Well, you're in for a treat. A spooky treat. You see, long ago, in the Slayer's Take, there was a powerful druid named Putridius Festerkin, in tune with all the powers of nature. But as powerful as he was, he abhorred the rushing rivers with their deep eddies, the tall, stalwart trees with their sturdy roots, and the unbreakable beasts of the Vesper Timberlands, for they were more powerful than he. The druid tried to barter with the spirits of the forest, but he was denied. Full of rage, he turned to the forbidden magics, and he became obsessed with bringing nature itself to its knees before him.
Clouds begin to roil in, covering the moonlight.
On a night not unlike the night, the other members of the Slayer's Take got word through whispers that the now unhinged Putridius had absconded to the dead man's table, an abnormally flat boulder in a clearing high within the Vesper Timberlands. With a forbidden text in the druid's possession, he attempted to enact the ritual to imbue himself with the power of decay itself. There was a horrible battle. Many of the take fell, but just as he was about to speak the final words of the ritual, the spirits of the forest lashed out against him, interrupting the magic and turning the blight back on the druid. He was eaten away and disappeared, never to be seen again. Since that fateful night, nothing living can thrive or grow at the base of Dead Man's Table, and they say you can still hear the timber blight's horrible screams on the north wind. That was so good, Poogs. How'd you make that noise?
Poogs is not there and comes out from behind a tree at the far end of the meadow.
Why is everybody looking at me?
Poogs, if that wasn't you that made the noise. Timpani turns and looks up the mountain.
Everybody make a perception check.
20.
18.
6.
7.
Through the trees, there is a loud booming sound, and the forest is suddenly illuminated with a soft, violet light. And then, Farah and Idrin look behind them and notice trees coming down in the wake of an enormous avalanche.
Everybody run!
The Reslayer's Take is a Meta Pigeon production in partnership with and distributed by Critical Role Productions, developed in association with Hero Club. Game mastered and produced by George Primavera and Nick Williams. Featuring Nick Williams as Timpani Guff, George Primavera as Poogs, Jasmine Bhullar as Hira Agnihart, Jasmine Chiong as Farah, Jasper Cartwright as Idrin Shadowstep, and Caroline Lux as Frog. Also featuring Hannah Fagerbaki as the Grocer and Matthew McCullum as Derek the Accountant. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.